Sleep is not one continuous state. Your brain moves through 4 distinct stages, each performing a different job. Lose the wrong stage, and 8 hours in bed can still leave you exhausted. Here is every type of sleep explained. The 4 true stages. Stage N1. N1 is the doorway into sleep. Your muscles relax, your eyes stop tracking, and your brain begins producing slower theta waves. This stage normally lasts only a few minutes, and you can still wake easily. It is also when hypnic jerks often happen, the sudden falling sensation or body jolt many people experience while drifting off. N1 gets you through the door. The real work begins afterward. Stage N2. N2 makes up roughly half of a typical night. Your body temperature falls, your heart rate slows, and you become less responsive to the outside world. 2 important brain events define this stage. Sleep spindles support learning and memory, while K-complexes help your brain filter sounds without fully waking you. That is why you can ignore traffic outside but instantly notice someone saying your name. Stress, irregular sleep, and late-night stimulation can keep pulling you back toward lighter sleep, leaving you tired even after spending hours in bed. Stage N3. N3 is deep sleep. Your brain produces slow delta waves while breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure reach their lowest levels. This is the hardest stage to wake from. It is also heavily connected with physical recovery, immune function, tissue repair, and growth hormone release. Deep sleep is concentrated mostly in the first half of the night. Staying awake late can therefore remove a disproportionate amount of the sleep your body uses for recovery. REM sleep. REM is where the brain becomes highly active while the body remains almost completely still. Your eyes move rapidly beneath your eyelids, breathing becomes irregular, and vivid dreams become more common. At the same time, most major muscles are temporarily disabled through REM atonia, preventing you from physically acting out your dreams. REM usually begins around 90 minutes after falling asleep. Each REM period becomes longer as morning approaches, which is why vivid dreams often happen close to waking. The pattern is simple. Early sleep contains more deep sleep, while later sleep contains more REM. Cut the beginning of the night, and you lose more physical recovery. Cut the morning short, and you lose more REM. How naps compress the same system. Naps are not a separate form of sleep. They use the same stages as nighttime sleep, but they compress them into a much shorter period. How you feel afterward depends heavily on which stage you reach and which stage you wake from. The power nap. A short nap lasting around 10 to 20 minutes usually keeps you within N1 and N2. That can be enough to reduce sleepiness, improve alertness, and sharpen attention without allowing the brain to enter much deep sleep. Because you wake from a lighter stage, the risk of heavy sleep inertia is relatively low. This is why short naps are often useful during a workday or before an activity that requires concentration. The exact timing varies, however. A sleep-deprived person may enter deeper sleep faster than someone who is well rested. The 30 to 60-minute nap. A longer nap creates a greater chance of entering N3. Deep sleep can be restorative, but waking directly from it may leave you slow, confused, or more tired than you felt before lying down. That unpleasant feeling does not necessarily mean the nap harmed you. It often means the alarm interrupted your brain during the deepest part of the cycle. The fog may disappear after a few minutes, but it can be a serious problem when someone needs to drive, work, study, or make decisions immediately after waking. The full cycle nap. A nap of roughly 90 minutes may allow enough time to move through a complete sleep cycle, including REM. But 90 minutes is only an estimate. Sleep cycles vary by person, age, sleep pressure, and time of day. A longer nap may support memory, emotional processing, and creative problem solving. It can also produce vivid dreams because the sleeper has enough time to reach REM. The disadvantage is that long naps can reduce sleep pressure later in the evening. Someone who naps too late or too long may struggle to fall asleep at night, creating a cycle of daytime sleeping and nighttime wakefulness. The caffeine nap. A caffeine nap combines a short nap with coffee. The idea is simple. Consume caffeine and immediately lie down for around 15 to 20 minutes. The short nap reduces some sleep pressure while the caffeine begins taking effect. Because caffeine does not produce its full alerting effect instantly, the person may wake as both influences begin working together. Some studies suggest this combination can improve alertness more than either strategy alone in certain situations, but it is not a replacement for adequate sleep, and using caffeine late in the day may interfere with the following night. A caffeine nap can temporarily manage tiredness. It cannot erase sleep deprivation. When the system breaks, sleep disorders are not additional sleep stages. They are disruptions in how the normal system begins, continues, or changes between stages. Insomnia. Insomnia involves persistent difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or returning to sleep after waking. It can also involve waking earlier than intended and being unable to fall asleep again. Stress, anxiety, pain, medication, irregular schedules, environmental conditions, and learned sleep habits can all contribute. Screens are often blamed, but the problem is more complicated than the screen alone. Bright light, stimulating content, emotional arousal, and delaying bedtime can all make sleep more difficult. Insomnia can trap a person in a frustrating cycle. The more they worry about not sleeping, the more alert the brain becomes, making sleep even harder to reach. Sleep apnea. Sleep apnea repeatedly disrupts breathing during sleep. In obstructive sleep apnea, the airway narrows or closes, even while the body continues trying to breathe. Oxygen levels may fall, and the brain briefly activates to reopen the airway. These awakenings can be so short that the person never remembers them, yet they may happen many times during the night, repeatedly breaking apart normal sleep cycles. A person with sleep apnea may spend 8 hours in bed but receive far less continuous deep sleep in REM sleep than expected. Common warning signs include loud snoring, gasping during sleep, morning headaches, dry mouth, difficulty concentrating, and persistent daytime sleepiness. Narcolepsy. Narcolepsy disrupts the normal boundaries between wakefulness and REM sleep. People with narcolepsy may experience overwhelming daytime sleepiness and enter REM unusually quickly. Elements normally associated with REM can also appear while the person is partly awake. These may include vivid dreamlike hallucinations, sleep paralysis, and in some cases, cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle tone triggered by strong emotion. Narcolepsy is not simply being unusually tired. It is a neurological disorder affecting the brain's control of sleep and wakefulness. REM sleep behavior disorder. During normal REM, the brain is active while most major muscles remain still. In REM sleep behavior disorder, that protective paralysis does not work properly. The sleeper may talk, shout, grab, kick, or leap from bed while acting out a dream. The movements can be forceful enough to injure the sleeper or anyone nearby. This condition is different from ordinary sleep talking or a child having a night terror. It involves abnormal movements specifically associated with REM sleep and should be medically evaluated.
That is the real structure of sleep, not one continuous state and not a simple switch between conscious and unconscious. 4 true stages, repeating several times each night, compressed into naps and disrupted in different ways when the system fails. N1 carries you away from wakefulness. N2 stabilizes sleep and filters the outside world. N3 supports deep physical restoration. REM activates dreaming, emotional processing, and memory integration. Your brain performs this sequence every night, whether you understand it or not. The real question is not only how many hours you sleep, it is how much of the cycle your brain actually completes and how often your habits interrupt it.